Record amount of rain yesterday. How is the community holding up the day after?
And Whitman County has suffered its first death from hantavirus. We'll tell you all about it and more right here on Murrow News 8.
From the Northwest Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University, this is Murrow News 8.
I'm Maddie Raveling.
And I'm Nick Rodabaugh. Thank you for joining us today on Murrow News 8.
The Palouse received an emergency has been declared in Whitman County following severe flooding from Sunday's heavy rain. Dozens of rural roads were damaged, with the worst damage east of U.S. Highway 195. Damage is estimated between $500,000 and $1 million. The emergency declaration allows for quicker repairs and potential funding assistance.
We've got our reporter Ella out looking at the flood, praying she doesn't fall in. Ella, how's it going out there?
Thanks, Maddie. I am here in downtown Pullman outside of the Pine Street pedestrian bridge. Now you may be thinking the bridge looks a little different. That is because it has shifted about 8 feet downstream due to the flooding from the Palouse River. Now, if you take a look closer over here, you can see that there is a cable tethering the bridge to this wall here. This is so that the bridge is able to float without being crushed under the pressure of the flood. Now, the city of Pullman designed this about 20 years ago with flooding in mind. After all these years, this design has paid off. Once the flooding has fully subsided, they are going to take a crane and place the bridge back in its usual spot where people will be able to access it again. Reporting in Pullman with Murrow News 8, I'm Ella Kastner.
Roads have been closed recently due to the flooding in the Pullman-Moscow area. Portions of Grand Avenue were closed temporarily but are now open. Moscow has received weather warnings from the National Weather Service due to Paradise Creek reaching over 10 feet. The weather warnings were issued to Mountain View Road, Stadium Drive, 5th Street, Roosevelt Street, Blaine Street, D Street, White Street, and Lemmy Drive. The National Weather Service advises people to not drive over the flooded parts of the road.
Due to the flooding we saw in Pullman this past night, Pullman's maintenance and operations services have set locations where students and residents can grab sandbags to keep the water away. For those in need, sandbags can be found by the parking lot at 796 North Grand Avenue, another lot by 240 Northeast Kamaikan Street, and also at the city playfields on Southeast Riverview Street.
Due to the damage from the flooding, we interviewed some students to see how the flood affected them.
Not personally, but one of my friends was driving back yesterday from home and he had to stop in the middle of the road because of a flash flood.
The other day when I was trying to get into my car in my apartment, the water was coming down so fast and it was very muddy too, and so I got the floody, gross, muddy water all over my shoes and almost got my clothes too, but it's definitely affected my parking lot at my apartment. Several of the parking spots are closed down so they could clean it up. So yeah, the flooding has been pretty crazy, I would say.
Whitman County Public Health confirmed a county resident has died of hantavirus in the first reported case of the virus in Washington this year. The virus does not spread from person to person, but travels through touching surfaces and breathing in dust. Rodents have infected symptoms include fever, headaches, and shortness of breath.
Midterms are just around the corner. Our reporter Macy has more on a new stress reliever for students.
It's that time of year again, midterms. With new exams and assignments come new stresses and pressures for students. Stress relievers like meditation, exercise, and deep breathing can all help to calm down and relax. But have you tried petting your dog? WSU Associate Professor Patricia Pendry and her team recently conducted a follow-up study. The study has shown that students who pet an animal for 10 minutes show significantly less short-term stress.
I live by myself in a one-bed apartment, so it's really nice to have
black.
A little thing to hang out with, or at least something to come home to, so it doesn't feel so lonely in my house.
Pendry's study involved over 300 students. All students were assessed on executive function, a fancy terminology for things like organization and motivation, skills you would typically find in a college student. After several weeks of exposure to animal interactions and therapy dogs, the students were reassessed. Pendry told WSU Insider that the results were pretty strong.
she's super cuddly, so it's nice to do some homework and have, just have something there to pet and hold. Yeah, I mean, she's also like, I'm responsible for her in many ways, so it kind of gives me, something to take care of, helps mental health wise.
Consistent programs that provide regular access to animal therapy for students is still in early development. For now, students can find stress relief with their own pets or attend campus petting events. With Murrow News 8, I'm Macy Harden.
Coming up, today marks the 3-year anniversary of the war in Ukraine.
And a member of the Washington state government came to visit WSU today. We'll tell you who after the break.
Days, months,
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
years,
I'd like to give you this.
a lifetime can rush by without realizing what we're missing. We lose some of the best moments, some that may never repeat,
Come on.
or detach from people around us. Our loved ones grow used to this pattern, but it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. It's never too late to live a full life again. Hear how many of us Vietnam veterans have managed our mental health and reconnected with our families. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Pope Francis has been hospitalized this week for a lung infection. The 88-year-old leader of the Catholic Church was reported Saturday to be in critical condition and still on supplemental oxygen. Tests showed initial mild kidney failure. Doctors said the situation is under control and the Pope is alert and well-oriented.
Today marks the 3rd anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and a special reading at Jarrell Library presented some of those experiences firsthand. Attendees gathered in the Jarrell Library atrium to hear readings from a Ukrainian dictionary of war, a book compiling firsthand accounts from Ukrainians affected by the ongoing conflict. WSU librarian Gabriella Resnowski helped organize the event, saying it gives people a deeper understanding of the war beyond political headlines.
So I really hope that it gave them an opportunity to see the human side of this war beyond the news, beyond the politics, the way it affects the average Ukrainian person, and also their tremendous courage and resilience.
The Washington Attorney General, Nick Brown, is in Pullman today discussing litigation against the Trump administration, as well as his roles and responsibilities. The event started at 4:15 and is taking place in Bryan Hall, room 308.
Well, with all the rain we got yesterday, can we look forward to clear skies ahead, Seth?
Yeah, well, as much as I wish I could say yes to that, we have a little bit more to get through. Guys, if we look at today's weather forecast, we have a high of 49 degrees in Pullman with a low of 37. Do note that winds should be around 25-ish miles per hour at a peak, so be careful about that. Moving on to tomorrow, we also have a high of 43 degrees, a little bit less than today, a low of 36 degrees, but also our winds will still stay around 25 to 35 miles per hour with higher gusts around 50 miles per hour. So moving on to across the state. All right, so the Olympia, Seattle area will be very rainy mostly this entire week. So if you're heading home, note that. Our 5-day forecast, looking at this, we have today or tomorrow high of 43 degrees with a low of 36. But as you know, as we move forward across the week, the temperature should rise to a high of around 57 degrees on Saturday. So if you're used to wearing like button-up shirts, maybe even a coat, something to stay nice out, just note that. So with that being said, we'll go back to the desk.
Thanks, Seth. Coming up, WSU's women's basketball team beat St. Mary's last Saturday.
And the Mariners spring training continues. We'll give you the details after the break.
It feels like no matter where you look, the state of the world's getting worse. Oceans full of plastic, an endless amount of waste, and a possible task ahead of fixing our beloved planet. But change can't happen if you do nothing. So here's where you should start. Reduce. Why? Because Americans produce more than 200 million tons of waste every year, and you don't want to add to that. Reuse. Why? Because reusing and repurposing cuts back on unnecessary waste, and it gives things a chance at new life. Recycle. Why? Because recycling creates jobs. It helps our community and it helps our planet. And after doing all this, what will we be left with? We'll be left with a planet that will slowly start to heal. We'll be left with more money in our pockets. We'll be left with more opportunity for work. And most importantly, we're left with hope for the future. So reduce, reuse, recycle.
On senior night, Washington State University's women's basketball broke their block record while defeating St. Mary's 72-62. The Cougars broke last year's record of 186 blocks. On Tara Wallach's senior night, she scored 12 points and provided 5 assists. Wallach is tied for second of all time at WSU with 158 career blocks. Wallach is close to setting many other career and school records in her senior year. Cougar men's basketball had their biggest defeat last Saturday as they took on the Santa Clara Broncos at Beasley. The Broncos beat the Cougs with a score of 109-79, making the 30-point margin the biggest this season.
You know, this is a tough game, and the basketball gods weren't with us tonight. They were knocking down shots, but we got to come in and get our spirit right.
The game was also the first time the Cougs led an opposing team score over 100 points since 2018. Saturday's game leaves the Cougars recorded at 16-13 so far this season. Pullman Greyhound Sports had a tough run of it this weekend as the defending champs came in second at the 2A state swim meet, falling to the Bainbridge 247.5 to 299. And the basketball team lost to the Prosser Mustangs 72-57 in a district crossover matchup, falling short of the state tournament. WSU baseball has taken their 8th straight loss today after playing Texas A&M down in Corpus Christi. The baseball team is 0-8 for the first time in program history. The Cougs will face Iowa this Thursday at noon in Selburne, Texas. The Seattle Mariners got their first win in spring training yesterday, beating the Arizona Diamondbacks 11-6 after a 2-game losing streak. Mariners were up 6-1 after the second inning and continued to maintain that momentum for the next 7 innings. The Mariners played the Brewers today, winning 12-8. Coming up next, not to sound corny, but if you're a big fan of tortilla chips, this may be a good day for you.
We'll tell you why after the break.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Thanks for watching Murrow News 8, and don't forget to follow us on our socials for more updates. Have a great day.